So the one that Jerry threw out was talking about employment expectations, and then basically two different perspectives. One from the young surveyors' perspective of those coming into the profession, and then employment expectations will be part two. Expectations will be part two. We're going to do that one on June 10th. So the young surveyors' perspective, we all of us reached out and got a couple of people, and I know everybody can chime in at some point, one way or the other, panelist or not. But we initially had Dustin and Kyle, myself, and Jerry. We're going to kind of be the original ones, and then Nolan's going to chime in next week from employer expectations, but he also gets to chime in on YSN expectations, and then I'm sure some of you guys will all chime in. Tim would be great perspective from getting people ready for the profession from kind of the union aspect of it, right? And so we've got all kinds of different perspectives on this one tonight, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't. We can, I guess, just we want to do some quick introductions with just do, I guess, a 30-second introduction for everybody that's on here, and we can kind of just run with. We'll start with Jerry. We'll go. I'll call him out because it's on my camera screen this way. But we'll start with Jerry.
Hi, I'm 3 times retired. I taught for many, many years, surveying at a bunch of different institutions, and worked for the BLM, DOT, NGS. It's non-consulting and done presentations, seminars and stuff. Worked for NLC Prep doing FS and PS exam review materials preparation. And like I said, I do seminars and workshops and stuff. So, and participate in the Roundtable Tuesdays and Mentoring Mondays.
And we get to call on Jerry because he educated the young surveyors entering the workforce. So we get to kind of pick on him a little bit when it comes to that. Kyle, go for
it. Kyle Brook. I do a lot of test prep material. I also am now state coordinator for the California Young Surveyors Network. So doing a lot of work with a couple of the regional directors who are on the call. I think we've got 3.
Nice.
I didn't sign up to be a panelist. I don't know. I learned last time that I don't think I have the bladder strength to be a panelist. Rude, but I mean, it means that I've got to sit and not go to the bathroom for 2-3 hours. And that's pretty hard for me. So if I'll give him a chance if any of my regional directors wants to take my place as the official panelist, man, step up, you guys. This is a better job for you than me.
But you kind of obviously you still have your own business going, but you also rolled into a new position at a new company, so you get to kind of talk about that perspective tonight, I think. So
I mean, I still won't shut up. You're right.
Yeah.
But no, I think I just started a new role, so I just went through the job and or the hiring process,
Yeah.
and I've done it a couple times. I've been on both sides of the coin, so to speak. So
good. Yeah, that'll be fun. We can add those conversations to it. Connie?
Hi, my name is Connie Barrett. I'm with Michael Baker International, and I have been surveying since 1987, about 37 years now after I graduated. And I'm one of the 5 leaders at Michael Baker Surveying. We have a probably 60 surveyors strong at Michael Baker in California. So there's 5 to 6 of us that lead those efforts. And I'm in charge of mostly mapping side of things nowadays.
Nice. Love it.
They gave me the promotions I was screaming about, so that's why I get so busy too.
There you go. We'll just drop down. Tim's next on my monitor. But
hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tim Rawls. I work for Hunsaker and Associates out here in Irvine, California. Other than that, I'm also a local 12 apprenticeship instructor. Been doing that for about the past 5 years. And yeah, for the most part, I'm inside of Hunsaker and Associates, inside the office doing calcs and stuff like that. So
nice.
Good times.
Love it. OTM. I can only see your logo.
Don't know who you're talking about. All right. Nolan Mark, NSPS YSN delegate, AGA past president. and just listener night since I'm going next week, so I'll hold my comments for notes. I'm just here to take notes, that's all.
2 weeks. You got 2 weeks.
2 weeks, there we go. 2 weeks.
June 10th. Armelli? Armelli? I don't want to butcher your name, but
Yeah, it's Amarali Denai. That's my name. I feel a bit out of place. I just graduated from the University of Michigan. I have a degree in computer science, but I'm very interested in land surveying. I've been shadowing some surveyors here in Michigan, and I
cool.
believe I found the link to this somewhere on YouTube. So there was like postings on YouTube. So I found the link to the Zoom, and I was just like, let me absorb information, I guess. So I don't know if I should be here, but I'm here. So here tomorrow night.
Awesome. No, we love that. Very cool. Mr. Gardner?
Trent, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, please.
I believe you stopped in my office the other day. Is that true?
Is it in the Midwest? Because if it is, totally. Yeah, Michigan, Ohio, or Indiana.
You definitely stopped in my office the other day. I owe
That's
you.
awesome.
So.
Okay, great. That's crazy. Wow.
And you didn't hire him. What the hell, Nolan?
That's not what he came in for, is what I've been told. All right.
That's awesome. All right. A couple people just jumped on, totally messed up my thing, but Justin's next. My monitor, I'm gonna have to pick names again.
My name's Dustin Gardner. Fourth generation land surveyor. Been on YSN for 3 years now, 2 years as president for Arizona. And now I've kind of moved back just the APLS YSN coordinator. Trying to get some new blood in there. Gonna probably get involved in Utah because I can't help it. I have a tendency to stick my nose in stuff. But yeah, no, I'm here to say go Big Red to the Wisconsin and Michigan members here. And pretty much my only stipulation for a place to work is as long as it's not in Indiana.
Oh,
That's it. That's my piece.
I love it. I love it. Gerard, you jumped on there, jumped on my monitor there.
So Jared Hahn, I'm the Wells County, Indiana surveyor. Kind of funny. There's about a fourth of the people on here I think are from Indiana. But anyway, went back to school when I'm not nothing, I guess. I went back to school when I was about 40 years old, decided I was going to go towards licensure. Took my FS in March. Wanted to thank Trent and Dane Corville as well for some of their study guides and materials that they put on these things. And I'm just trying to learn stuff for the next step, which is the PS for me. So
that's awesome.
Been the county surveyor for going on 21 years now. So.
Oh, I think we've had this debate either on social media or something about the county surveyors not being licensed.
In Indiana, there's no requirement for that.
Yep. I remember this conversation.
Well, and what's funny, when I started, almost 2/3 of the county surveyors were licensed in the state. Now it's about 25%. That number is drastically dropping. Most of it probably because of the pay that governments are willing to provide for that position.
Crazy.
So.
All right, sweet. Well, you get both perspectives. I like it. How about Josh? If you want to chime in there, Josh, or not? But
Josh Rodella. I've been in this for now about a year.
oh, try to unmute. I think you got your camera turned off, but your mic's not coming through very loud.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. How you guys doing? My name is Josh Rundell. About a year now, I've been in the industry, kind of new to it. Been in CLSA for a little bit as a husband of CLSA. So I've been voluntold to go to CLSA. I've met you at Vegas a few times, Vegas and Reno.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm here just to listen.
Okay. And chime in. I like it. Awesome. Brian. Let's see.
There we are.
There we go. I love it.
Hey, I'm Brian Galuli. I'm a business development leader for David Evans and Associates in California. I'm licensed in Oregon, Washington, and California. See, I've been surveying for about 25 years, and I've been licensed since 2008. I love mentoring, so if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'm here to just listen tonight and we'll work off on the side over here.
I like it.
Right.
You got to chime in too with some of that perspective as well, though.
Sounds good.
Adrian. Adrian always just hangs in the background lately. No camera.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Adrian here. Here supporting YSN Kyle, and just here to either give input or listen. Thanks.
All right. Parker. Where did I see?
Hey, my name is Parker Phillips. I'm at Hunsaker and Associates San Diego. I've been in their mapping department for about almost 2 years now. I'm about 4 hours removed from taking my FS this morning.
Ah, sweet.
And so I got to enjoy my 4-day weekend, which was fantastic. And then I'm taking up the efforts in San Diego to be the regional director for the YSN.
And we get to see you on social media next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Right? I like it. Once we get the results, how do you feel?
I think great. I think a lot less math than I was expecting, which was good. So
nice. Cool. Mr. Wing. He's always got great perspectives.
Hey, how you guys doing?
That's quite the look you got going tonight.
Oh, yeah, office day all day. So my name's William Wing. I own Infinity Land Surveying here in Phoenix, Arizona. We've been in business for about 8 years, and I'm the vice president of the Arizona Professional Land Surveyors statewide. And we just had a conference a few weeks ago, so I might have met some people there. I can't be sure, but happy to be here. Just listening, and hope to gain some insight on this topic.
There you go. Perfect. Matthew I think we got 2 left. Matthew and then Sadiq.
Hey, yeah. Good evening. My name is Matt Johannesson. I'm down here in Beaufort, South Carolina. Graduated from East Tennessee State University a couple years ago. I got licensed about 18 months back. Just started a new position with a firm here in the area, basically as a project manager. Just kind of running the local office here. It's a Florida-based company, but they have one satellite office here in South Carolina. And I attend all these Monday through Wednesday, and I learn a lot through all these chats. And thank you very much. I'm just here to listen and learn.
I think I'm gonna start with one question when we get done with this other one, but I hope you'll chime in on it. So I'm gonna butcher his name too. Is it Sedu?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, close.
Yeah, so my name is Seydou Wayne. I'm usually here in these forums, absorbing as much as possible. Just passed my FS exam a few months ago. I just finished my bachelor's degree at Cincinnati State.
Nice.
I have an unusual route because I worked in surveying about 17 years ago. Then I got pulled into GIS, did GIS for about 10 years, but always wanted to go back to surveying. So got my chance, and in my 40s. So you guys have been great help. Mentoring Mondays, all this stuff. I listen to it all the time.
I love it. Awesome. So there's a few of you that just recently graduated or fairly recent out of college, and so we went off of good old Chat GPT to come up with our questions. That's what Kyle taught me the other day for the last one we did. But this one, this question number 4, I won't start from the very top. But question number 4, since a lot of you just recently graduated, do you feel adequately prepared by your education or training program to meet the demands of your current role? And there you go. So you can just kind of chime in or vice versa. But
I think the bone work's there. I mean, it's a pretty tough field to like get somebody 100% shored up for, because just when you think you've seen everything, you're wrong. That being said, though, I took the FS before I started school, and then the second time after just one semester, I took PLSS. I think it was intermediate survey math and boundary law, and walked through the FS on the second shot. So it makes a difference for the exams. And it gives you a basic bone work for for the actual field work that you're going to do, but you really do need a mentor to, you know, kind of help you build the muscular structure and everything else from it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. For as far as the exams, it prepares you well for the exams. But what I notice is that the material comes at you so fast. There's so much so fast that now that I graduated, I go back to my lessons. I'm going back again and trying to absorb it, at a slower pace. But
Yeah.
the fundamentals are there.
Matthew, since you said you just recently graduated, thoughts on that? Or Matt, sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I had to learn more after university than to be prepared for either of the exams, but it definitely gave you the fundamentals, the foundation, the 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 right direction as to what to learn, how to learn it, and how to approach the concepts. They were all formed through the university level, which was definitely a benefit. Some states, such as I believe Georgia now, that has waived some of the educational requirements, and I'm sure that would be a real challenge in order to pursue your licensure without having that background in higher education.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, we've probably talked about it a few times, but, I guess to Jerry's point, as the academia on here, I mean, the ultimate goal of college is not to prepare you for an FS exam. I mean, the ultimate goal is to have you career readiness, right? So I guess think about that
Yeah,
conversation there, Jerry.
it's not, we don't teach to the exam.
Right. You don't think
For one-
you
yeah,
don't,
for one
you don't
one
feel
thing,
like
we
you
don't know
should.
what's on the exam and that type of
Yeah.
stuff, because there's some obsolete things that are on the exam. What we primarily try to instill in a student, whether you're going through a 2-year program or a 4-year program, is one, learning to learn and understanding the importance of learning, so that once you walk out the door, you continue that as a lifelong pursuit. And 3, provide you a framework on which to hang continued learning plus the experience that you have. We routinely tell everybody in engineering and in surveying in general, when you walk out the door, we've taught you 20% of what you need to know. The other 80% is going to come from your life experiences, your mentorships, and interacting with other professionals and that type of thing. But hopefully, the educational components prepared you for that and made you a little bit more aware of how to approach those types of things.
That 20% that's the first time I've heard that, but I would say I've been in the profession
18 adjusted for inflation.
there you go. I like it. But I've been in the profession for 30 years. And I remember as we started to roll into the 4-year degree requirements, there was kind of that, it would be interesting to have this same conversation 20 years ago, because it felt like there was such a misnomer of those graduating college that they were supposed to know everything with a 4-year surveying degree. And I think you saying that you should only really know 20% and the rest is going to be OJT, I just,
Well, I thought you should only know 20%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on what happens during the educational experience also. I mean, if you go just classes, but if you blend that with in the summer having a job that's surveying related, then you're building on that framework much more quickly. And you're going to walk out with more than that minimal amount that we prepare you for, that type of thing. And it depends on the person. Somebody coming straight out of high school has a different learning mode and style, or lack thereof, if you will, than someone who's returning, who's been out working, whether it's been in surveying or some other area. They come back with a more focused approach into what they want to do. They get more out of the education. So I think they walk out much more better prepared, simply because of previous life experiences that the other students haven't had an opportunity to experience yet.
Yeah, like Jared said, right? As I know Connie's got unmuted too, but I was gonna say Jared has a totally different life expectancy as a 40-year-old college student than, like you say, somebody who's 18 to 22. So
And I guess a comment on that. I was 40 when I went back. Older than when I took elementary surveying. I was the oldest kid in the class by double.
yeah.
I think you appreciate it more after you've had some life experience and some work experience. You appreciate the class and what they're trying to teach you, and your work ethic is just totally different than a 18, 19-year-old going into class today. And the other thing, and I think it was at the last one of these I participated in, um, it seems like the universities treat everybody like they're an unemployed 19-year-old. It was really hard for me to go back 40 years old, having a job, having a career, having a family, and trying to get the classes that I needed at, Tuesday and Thursday at 11 in the morning or whatever. That I don't know how we changed that, but that was a frustrating part for me, trying to schedule the classes in around my life.
Yeah.
So
That's one of the nice things about smaller institutions is there's less institutional overhead to try to get around when you're doing that type of stuff, adjusting schedules. Even like we went to 8 weeks classes so that we could split up and concentrate like field work oriented courses in the better part of the semester for doing field work as opposed to the wintertime doing the comps and that type of thing. And moving things around so that the courses were taught later in the day, for students. One thing I was going to say that we talked about the focus and that type of, some of the best disciplinarians I've had in school are returning students. When somebody's like fooling around in the back of the room and all that kind of stuff, I don't have to discipline them because some guy in front or some woman in front is going to turn around and say, knock it off. I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
So I love having them there.
Love it.
And when I went back, it was pre-COVID, so there wasn't near the online options that there are today. I heard somebody say Cincinnati State earlier. They have almost a full online program now, or basically a full online program. I think Vincennes does as well in our area. That wasn't available when I started back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the difference. Like to Jerry's point, the smaller institutions that really work on, working adults, changing careers or
Yeah.
second careers, those kind of things it's
Do
really
we
important.
have any of the participants here that have taken online courses? And if so, how do you feel about how they were run and the content and how effective you thought they were versus what you would expect out of a face-to-face class?
Yeah.
So I've been in online schooling since about 2014 when I got out of the Marine Corps. And I've gone from everywhere from a local community college here, Central Texas College, Southern Illinois University, Cal Baptist University, and worked my way through about like 6 different degree plans. Majority of those have been online. A lot of the schools have gotten a lot better with their online delivery. I know taking a face-to-face class and just plopping it online, plopping it on Teams isn't an online learning experience. Actually creating an LMS or learning management system and having the infrastructure backed up by professionals that understand how students learn and how to manipulate the computer to make it easier. It is so much easier nowadays I got my bachelor's and a master's from Southern Illinois University. I've never stepped on campus.
Yeah.
So it's much easier nowadays.
Yeah. Great points. Connie, did you want to chime in? I think you kind of unmuted it. I don't know if you want to chime in on any of that stuff.
I really don't have anything to add. I really liked the way Jerry has talked about how a degree is not supposed to make you an expert, and this is something that's mistaken
Yeah.
a lot out in the industry to a point where people with a brand new degree are compared to somebody of 10 to 15 years of experience or experience plus a degree. It's no comparison. One thing that is handy in a degree is it gives you a good overview of what all entails in surveying, and something where did he go? Okay. Something that was mentioned just a minute ago regarding learning styles. When you're going through mentorships, most of your mentors are not educators. They are not trained. They don't understand how to teach people. So there's a high possibility of missing out a lot of things if you don't take at least few classes. So I think we need to emphasize that and dispel some of the myths that are out there that keep repeating themselves a lot.
And I think that goes on to I think it rolls off of what the comments you made, but it's the whole train the trainer that we've been talking about a lot lately. And that's you've moved that person from the technical ability into a management role, and he doesn't have management abilities or management understanding or leadership styles or
Yeah.
anything to be able to do that. And so they just continue to play that technical role and not be a leader or a manager, right? And so we've been working on that a lot, on as far as workforce development committee is how we can, I had heard one just recently from a conference that was happening in April, but it was called pre-K to Gray. And that whole workforce development is literally from awareness of the profession through all the way through management roles or through retirement, right? And so there's that aspect of a continuous learning, as Jerry said, even from a 22-year-old college students that we're all sitting on here tonight learning, the next thing too as well. So I think those management styles is the really important thing when you start to move through your career. You have the technical ability, but now you've got to start working on the leadership things to be able to move into those next position roles. So I guess Kyle, I know just thought on that. You rolled into a new job, but what kind of position are you taking in new new company? Is it going to be more of a managerial role or just technical mapping type stuff?
Yeah, project manager. So
Yeah.
little bit of everything.
Yep.
I think with a big part of our profession is working, especially when as a project manager, is working with field crew, office staff, upper level management, and combining all of those things. And yeah, navigating those situations and being able to find places and that will nurture you and try to push you into more training systems is really hard, in my opinion. I end up just reading a ton of business books, management books, all sorts of things like that, because you kind of have to. I at least have to absorb something 10 times over for it to sink in a little bit.
Got it. I like it. On that same one, let's see. I think we kind of hit that one pretty good. Nice job, Jerry. I like it.
I want to something for
Yeah, please.
something for the younger folks out there that because I came right out of high school, right into a college program, and everybody in my program had already been surveying for 5, 10 years, so
Yeah.
you feel, they're asking questions in class and like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Right. Cause you don't have that experience. So, nobody ever told me till later, but just like I said, it's about the fundamentals. So, when you show up to that job after you graduate and, I've never gotten more shit in my life than when I stepped out there in front of all those crews in the morning. And they're like, "What's up, schoolboy? Heard you, And then my boss goes and tells them, "You guys be nice to him. One day he's going to be your boss." So now they're like, "Oh, I heard you're going to be my new boss." Like, so also if you're a manager, don't set your new guys up like that. You know what I mean? Like it was brutal, but it really took, getting in the trenches with a lot of them or helping them out and something that they were stuck with to start, building that respect and because it is tough, they love giving the schoolboy shit. So
Yeah.
and when you get there, you don't like, I didn't even know AutoCAD when I got out of college.
Yeah.
I took maybe 2 classes and, so, I'm sitting there trying to figure out the difference between paper space and model space, pulling my hair out. And one of the older guys came in and was like, "Look, man, this is for the first 5 years, it's going to be 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. So just, roll with it and don't get too discouraged because you have plenty of time to get that experience." So
Yeah. Good stuff. I would say this one's next for kind of the younger ones just coming out of school and going in. What are your top 3 expectations entering a new job or a new surveying job? So mentorship, hands-on training, field work, career advancement paths, those kind of things. Like, anybody want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, mentorship, and mentorship.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the hands-on kind of goes in with it because you'll get your mentor will go through a problem with you and say, "Okay, here's a similar one. Now you work on this," and then once you've done it, they'll go, "Okay, walk me through what you did."
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of places, or I don't want to say a lot of places, some places are kind of just a meat grinder where they're like, "Here's a project, off you go," and then, "Well, what do you mean you don't understand?" And it's like, "I've never seen this before." So the mentorship, you can't put a price tag on that. And I mean, coming out of school with college debt and all this stuff, you're thinking, all I'm thinking is money, money, money. And I mean, the money will come if you find the right mentor, but if you don't have the mentor that's going to train you and make you useful, you're just going to be floundering.
Yeah.
So that I feel like that's the most priceless piece, really.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Who else? Who's recently Parker? Maybe.
Yeah, I think to bounce off of that and go a little further too, one of the things that I was looking at for a company that wasn't going to ghost me through interview process, which was the big one right after COVID. But the other one is, do I really enjoy, or is this place going to be a place that I'm going to want to come every single day? And is that culture of the people, your mentor is great, but if you have the supporting staff around you too, that was something that I think makes me want to do more and more as I go through this educational process. I didn't go to school for surveying. And so if you look at like my team at my company, we all came from somewhere else that's not surveying. One's an accountant, one was a bartender for 25 years. And it's just like this really cool mesh of personalities. And if you all get along together, that makes you want to do so much more, especially when it's super busy and you're just going through those types of rough work weeks. So
Yeah, we've done a lot of the roundtable conversations at our Nevada CLSA conferences and our West Fed conferences, and it's about finding the right culture that fits your needs, your everything. The whole culture of a company lives and dies by that. And we've had some conversations in the past, and I've done it. 1 second, I was going to throw this to Jerry. I just threw it in the chat, Jerry. Sorry. The culture of just being able to as Parker said, you're going to show up there. You're going to spend more time with your work people than you are mostly with your family a lot of times. And so finding that company culture that's going to help you flourish throughout your career is super important as well. And so I live on culture. That's one of the things I focus on mostly. But anybody else on that one?
Have any of you that have entered the market or the career path in the last 5 years not been given a mentor?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's probably more typical than anywhere else.
Yeah, well, it goes back to that problem that Connie was talking about. They go, well, you have the college degree. What do you mean you can't do this? And it's like, well, it's, the stuff you're presented with in school is theoretical and perfect because it's supposed to teach you it's presented as this nice package so that you can understand the ladder work. But once you get into the real world, and that was one of the things that I never understood. Like what the test questions is impossible to write a black and white survey test question until I had to write my own for stuff. So it's impossible for these places to get you manager ready after 4 years, like Jerry's saying, it's going to be minimal. But if you have a little bit, I mean, even if you're going to regular work all 4 years and then doing the school additional, you haven't seen everything. You're still going to open up one project one day that's just a storm like no storm. So
Anything else on that one? There's another good one that kind of leads into that next question there, but
maybe just want to mention
please.
to the
You're good.
Oh, I want to mention to the new professionals, if you're not finding a right mentor, don't get discouraged. Right mentors are not super easy to find. Like I said, the criticism of it's not really criticism, it's just a situation in the older generations. A lot of surveyors didn't learn how to mentor people. So finding a good mentor, there has to be some luck and searching involved. I am fortunate at the company where I'm at that we take mentorship seriously. You get mentors, you get opportunities to rotate mentors once a year as far as formal mentoring, and then your peers. We also have the kind of a peer mentor group where your peers, 1 to 2 are assigned to kind of help you as you're the new person in the company. They're kind of like your, we call them baker buddies. They're your assigned baker buddies whose job it is to help you. So do try to look for companies that do offer that. It's one of the things that when we hire people, we get quite a few people that are not happy with their career advancement because of the lack of mentors. Even though they might be exposed to a lot of experienced people, they're just the communication, the teaching style is not conducive sometimes to somebody else's learning style.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where in education we need to be telling the students as we prepare them also for doing interviews and writing, resumes and all this kind of stuff, and doing practice interviews. That should be a question that's asked. Do you offer mentorship?
Yeah.
And if more and more people are asking for that, maybe on the employer side, they'll start to realize that there's an importance associated with this, and they'll need to something to bring up the panel in 2 weeks here. Maybe it's something that they need to consider take more seriously, like Connie's company does.
Yeah.
And we need to mentor the mentors.
Yeah, exactly.
And if your company doesn't have anything like that, you can always talk to Nolan and look at the YSN mentorship program that we're in the middle of right now. And it's aimed directly at that. So
yeah,
but it's getting the word out to people for that's always the issue, is the communication, getting that out there to people.
And I've talked about it, once this cliff that's coming in 5 to 7 years, I think is really going to change the culture of the entire profession. And so it's going to be interesting to see how things progress. Go for it, Kyle.
I know it just kind of got hit on, but I was gonna basically do just that and make it clear. I don't know too much about it. I'm learning about it after the fact, but I know YSN has its mentor-mentee program. I don't know if we want to put a way that you would sign up. I don't know if they're not in the enrollment period anymore and you have to wait till next year, but how do we get people some information about that? Because somebody's going to watch this later and be like, hey, that sounds great. How do I do it?
Yeah. So to that point, we just kicked off. We're in like week 2 of the YSN mentorship program. This would be the pilot program. It's going to go through pretty much the end of September, and then do a kind of a final wrap up at the NSPS fall meetings, graduation per se type thing, and then I would imagine it'll kick back off again next year. Hopefully we can get the support to do it again, but and the funds, it does take a monetary value to be able to run this program through Mentorian. So we've got to continue to find the funds for that.
If somebody does stumble across this video on YouTube or whatever, Trent, can you put a link to the Mentoring Mondays session that we had on that YSN mentoring, that there's programs they're setting up, so you can find out more information that way at least?
Yep, will do.
Only because it was mentioned. If someone is interested, you can sign up late if you want to. It's up to you or your mentor if you want to accelerate the schedule that we have. If there's any young people watching this video after the fact, a big important note to make: follow up on your commitment. We were ghosted by more young surveyors than I've ever seen in my life. So we had at least 10 people that just said they were going to do it and didn't do it. So
oh no.
Yeah. And we were more worried about getting more mentors than anything. So we reached out to all the mentors. If they knew someone looking to get into the program, they could. If someone here on this call or after the fact is interested, let me know and I can put you in contact with somebody, even if it's just for a shorter period of time. So
so we've got all the YSN people entering the profession dying and asking for mentors, and then provide it, and it's not happening. Oh no, I hadn't heard that part yet.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right, well, we'll get there. It's the pilot program. It's year 1. We're changing a culture.
And next year it should be help, or there should be funding through FIG for it, so we should be good to go. So.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. Okay. yeah, I'll throw some stuff on there. So great conversation on that one. That kind of leads into the next one too, that I kind of like. Next question would be, how important is work-life balance to you? And do you feel that the land surveying profession currently supports this need when it comes to work-life balance? I would say it's a lot easier on the office side, although I will say I personally changed our company culture to be off every other Friday for field and office. And so we made the adjustment for field and office, and initially started with the office only. And then the next year we rolled it to field and office. And so we do the whole 980 situation, even for the field staff. And we didn't even get a lot of pushback on the field superintendents and that kind of stuff on the construction side of things. It's easier on, of course, boundary topos, ALTAs. We can schedule your stuff, but the biggest pushback you'd ever get would be construction. And we got a little pushback in the beginning, but it didn't take but maybe the first 3 or 4 months, and then it was now they just pretended like we're closed every Friday, and so now every other Friday is kind of a light Friday, and we're closed the one Friday. So it's kind of worked out because they never know which Friday we're open or closed, and so it's worked out well. But that is, I think, one really big thing. So I mean, when it comes to benefits and things like that, I mean, you've just given an extra 26 days off a year on top of holidays and your vacation time. So it can be done. It's going to take that company to kind of change the culture and do that thing. So that's one way that I've been able to improve the work-life balance for both field and office. So
question for you, Trent, on that.
Yeah.
Do you pay them on their day off? Do they work more hours other days of the week to kind of make up for it, but they get every other Friday off? How do you do that?
Yeah, so the way we've done it, you think about like overtime rules and certain things like that. So what we've done is we have like a calendar set, and it's 36-hour week and a 44-hour week. So anything over 36 on the Friday we're off would be considered overtime, and anything over 44 on the Friday that we're working, or vice versa, then and it's still overtime. So anything over 36 or anything over 44. So that way,
essentially you're 80 hours in a 2-week period.
Yep. It's called 980s. Yeah. So it's 980s. You work 9 hours, whatever, 8 days a week, or 8 days in the pay period. And then that Friday is technically an 8-hour day, but we've set it up.
Okay.
So that way guys don't feel like I've got to work, 82 hours, but one week they may have worked 54 and the other one they worked, 30, right? So we've just made it fair, anything over 36 and anything over 44. So
cool.
And we're Nevada, we have a little bit different rules. Like Tim probably has totally different overtime rules when it comes to California, and certain things that you got to deal with on labor laws for each individual state as well. But we made it clean up front, like anything over 36 and anything over 40. I wish more states would allow that, so you have that flexibility, so you can do things in that format. But like I said, I know Tim and Connie, and those are hard to do when you got state labor laws that dictate certain things. So
try being a salaried exempt government employee.
yeah, there you go. Same thing. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you work half days, 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still only get paid for 8.
Yeah.
I think ever since COVID, the shift towards that work-life balance has changed tremendously. And if you want proof, try and get a camping spot at a national park. Good Lord, it's impossible these days. So there's more people going out and spending time with family and doing more stuff. Sorry, I'm dying. My allergies are killing me. So that's why I sound like an 80-year-old chain smoker. But it's a big thing because there's some companies that are just, it's a meat grinder, and we have to hit so many billable hours every week and X, Y, and Z. And I think that's backed off a little bit. There still is the huge uptick in remote work is, from 6 years ago is tremendous. But I think as time goes on, there's more and more and more focus on that work-life balance and getting time to spend with your family.
Yeah. And to your point, I did a hike up Mount Charleston, so it was a 10-hour hike, and I'm a weirdo, but I counted all the people that I passed along the way on the trail, and I passed 93 people in my 9.5-hour hike yesterday. And I counted 26 going to the summit, which is the peak that we go up to. I counted 26 and a dog going up to the peak. So it's just weird things you do, right? When you're killing time, but especially when you're weird into numbers. But yeah, I counted 93 people yesterday on the trail. So it was pretty wild. But
Yeah, I think they said there was like a 5 or 6 hour line to get in through the West Yellowstone gates today on a Tuesday morning after a 3-day weekend. You'd think everyone's gone home, but
yeah,
good
that's
luck.
wild. That's wild. Yeah. Yeah, and to your point, like you said, since COVID, I mean, everything's been so much different when it's socially accepted now when it comes to this. Obviously, even down to Zoom, right? Like, how many more meetings do we have now? I think you have more meetings now because they're so convenient to do on Zoom. Um, but this really changed the career aspect of it when it came to remote working and all those kind of things. So I do like that, but. I guess that goes back to that point is the surveying profession as a whole. I mean, we got a couple examples where we're changing it, but in general, are we making that difference? Are we making an effort? Connie's got her hand up, but go for it.
Oh, I was going to say that you touched on work from home. With us at Michael Baker, especially in California, we're almost 100% from home for office staff, obviously. And this is really popular. And with work from home also come a flexible hours. And one thing that we're fortunate is, as far as the hours flexibility, they allow this to up to your individual manager to discuss the hours. So I have people who like to work super early. I have people who like to work super late. I have people who like to work Fridays, take Fridays off and work 10-hour days. The main thing with us is, time, be on budget, be on point, and then everything else we can work around. So that's a big boon there. Plus, there's people we've had who would drive over an hour to work and back and or longer, and that gives people, 2, sometimes up to 3 hours a day back to be with your families, or to do whatever off of work activities you can have.
That flex hours. So when we did the roundtable up at CLSA in March, that flex hours came up as part of our conversation, and I don't remember which firm it was. Maybe Kyle does or not, but there was a firm that basically did that. They have the flex hours, and it was you can work anytime between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. You just got to get your hours in during those particular times. But the flex hours is, I think, a new one that's going to be a little more popular as well. Like, as you say,
Yeah.
somebody times maybe somebody has a doctor's appointment at 8. That was one of the things we did joke about. We're closed every other Friday, but sometimes people are still making appointments in the middle of, on a Tuesday afternoon, even though they're closed on a Friday, or off on a Friday. So
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I think the flex hour things, I think that's going to be something that's going to change a little bit over the
Yeah.
next few years as well. So
And with our field people, this has also given us the flexibility to schedule them to work on projects that are close to their home. So, let's say somebody lives, we've had people who live 60, 70 miles away, then they drive to the office and then they drive to a job site that's another 60, 70 miles away. Now we have flexibility to put them as close as possible to their homes so that they don't have to spend 4 hours on a road after their work hours and for work hours.
yeah, I was going to say California has its own sort of,
We have a huge
nuances.
area
Yeah.
that we're covering. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. Dustin, I saw you unmuted. I don't know if you chime in there before we go to Kyle, but
Oh, I was just gonna say it's like sometimes that really those early morning hours, that like 4 to 6, it's the only time the phone's not ringing and you can get
yes,
stuff done. So
productivity level is amazing at that point. Yeah. Yep. Go for it, Kyle. And then I saw Will.
I'm just curious if anybody is working, besides Jerry, if anybody's working less than 40 hours on average a week. If you're looking for work right now, people are hiring full time. I'm curious how you start out working part time, which is something that a lot of people do. Getting like survey interns involved. A lot of times very young people getting into the industry are working, they're going to school, so they're trying to find some part-time work. And so wondering if anybody has had experience finding those jobs, seeing those jobs, or if that's something that their firm actively offers, because that's one of the struggles I think getting people into the industry is
Yeah, that's a great point. I was gonna laugh and say if anybody's looking for part-time work, Will's looking for him.
Yep.
You're gonna chime in on some of that. Go for it, Will.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just backing up to the
Yeah.
work-life balance thing. I was just going to say you can also do it in your actual jobs. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just so focused on getting from point A to point B, you'll just, and your manager should, if you're working in an area where there's something cool, go check it out. Take the scenic route back, stop somewhere. I mean, you're working, but I always do that when I'm doing something, it's like I want to go all stuck on the freeway, or let's take some back roads and maybe we can stop and see the biggest Barney, ball of yarn or something. But
yeah,
you gotta change it up because it gets monotonous out there. And if you're just grinding every day, you're gonna grind yourself out. So you got to keep it, cook a meal on your tailgate one day, But
yeah, not to lose point on Kyle's thing, but I never, my wife gets mad because I never take the same route twice. I always go somewhere one way and come home a different way. So I'm always a stop and smell roses kind of person. So I never take the same way to and from somewhere. So that part's fine. But yeah, I guess to Kyle's point is there anybody not working 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week at this point in this profession? But
definitely working that much. But I know when we were, the Rick Phoenix office would take the older high school kids or stuff in the summertime, and some of them were part-time. You were going to be, the third person on the crew or a survey assistant if someone was sick that day, so you're just hauling hubs.
Yeah.
But we had we had, what was it, 30 some kids with Cooper Aerial that came in. We had a bunch of people that came in wanting survey jobs full time, and a bunch of them stopped showing up after like the fourth session because they said we're sending out our resumes, but because we don't have prior work experience or the schooling behind it, no one's even calling back. So we've had a small army all our own, looking even for full-time work. And part of the problem is people just don't want the green survey assistant anymore.
Yeah, that's the only way we're going to grow the profession. And I've talked about that a lot of times is, the summer interns, the job shadowings, that's what we're going to certainly change. But to the point of, changing that work-life balance in order to be able to attract that younger talent. Go for it, Tim.
Just real quick. So if you are in the Southern California area and you are inside the jurisdiction of Local 12, I think we cover Southern California, Nevada, a small portion, and I think a little bit of Arizona or something like that. We do have we have the apprenticeship program, but then we also have the summer internship program.
Oh, nice.
Where you're going to college. The one prereq is that you have to be an engineering or surveying student. And then you can come over, you'll work as my numbers might be wrong, but I think it was like you work as a B, a D, and an F. So you're looking at, I don't have the exact numbers. Your very first summer, you can make $30 an hour, and then you can make $40 an hour, and then you keep coming back each and every summer. And you can get paid more and more and work through that entire summer. So there is an opportunity there if you are a graduating student or if you are just a student.
Nice. That is cool. I think so. One of the other questions on here, and we've kind of hit on it a little bit already, would be the role of mentorship in shaping your career goals and job satisfaction. I think we've kind of hit that one pretty good already. Another one on here is, do you see a clear pathway for career advancement in your current position or within the profession as a whole? And if not, what is missing? That's a pretty good one, especially for those kind of, there you go, Dustin.
I think it's kind of a ready or not type thing. Some of us are going to get lucky and have good mentors and we'll be moved up, but with the huge exodus going, if you pick up a license or you have your degree or whatever, you're going to be kind of pushed into a management spot, ready or not. Seen it at a handful of firms now, so it might get pretty exciting in the next couple of years, retracing some of these newer surveys. So I think there's a clear path up. It's just, is it going to be a nice set of stairs, or are you just going to be getting pushed on the hood of a car through brush?
That's good. That's a good analogy. Yeah, and I'd say it comes down to employers as well. I mean, one of the things we're really big on is, succession planning as well. Like, we have four guys that'll probably be gone in the next 3 to 5 years, and so we have to be able to invest in the next guys coming up that we're going to fill those positions, especially when it's a lot of younger guys that, especially in my particular firm where we have so much, under 40, under 45, like to have that institutional knowledge and replace what's about to walk out the door, and get them ready. So to Dustin's point is having those mentors and the training aspects and conversations on a daily basis to be able to even come remotely close to the institutional knowledge that's walking out the door. Jerry, you got your hand up. It kind of blended in. I didn't see that. Sorry. You muted.
That's
Oh, there
okay.
you
I tend to kind of blend into the background anyway.
go.
My generation, which is way back, basically in my generation, when you entered a job, working for a company, you pretty much, okay, married to that company for most of your career, almost all your career, and you get your gold watch, whatever, retirement, that type of thing. Before I retired from MATC about 10 years ago, and we'd have our job placement people come in and talk to our students about, getting ready for job interviews and all this kind of stuff. They said the statistic that they threw out was that on average, a person changes jobs 7 times during their career. So that means working for seven, not just a job within a company, but going from company to company. And that was an average, but they couldn't break it down by discipline to say, well, a dentist only does it, so many times versus an engineer versus whatever and that type of thing. But to me, it kind of sunk into my brain the mobility that students have now in their careers. And I kind of when I talk to students, I said, there are different disciplines within, and surveying, and some companies specialize in some areas, and sometimes the way to diversify your experience is to move from company to company.